So I'm pretty sure all of you see the title. Today, on this most auspicious occasion, I want to talk about those that are responsible for transforming the American dream into an American nightmare. I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you know that I'm talking about the left. But I plan to go into great detail in breaking down why I feel as though the left have completely and utterly destroyed the American dream at the pinnacle of American society. Now, if you know anything about history, you'll know that this is not the first time that a group has engaged in this type of foolishness. Um, it if you understand history, if you understand history and you paid attention to, you know, certain key events, you'll know that it's not out of the ordinary for the left to justify political violence, to celebrate the demise of political opponents, and to believe in this sort of radicalized feudal revolution that they believe will lead to some sort of utopian society that has never happened. And if you think I don't know what I'm talking about, just go back and look at the French Revolution. Just go back and look at the French Revolution. This thing that they're doing, it isn't new. It isn't new. It isn't new at all. And shout out to everybody in the chat is wishing me happy birthday. I really appreciate it. Every year, get closer and closer to being a senior citizen. But I will say this, in reference to my birthday, my wife surprised me with something that I don't know. I was really touched. Like I remember when I was a young man, I wanted an Averex jacket so bad. Oh, I wanted an Averex jacket so bad. But when I was younger, I couldn't afford one. Well, let me not say I couldn't afford one. Let me say that anytime I had enough money to get one, that money had to go towards other things. I had other priorities or whatever. But my wife, the wonderful person that she is, she heard me say a few times that I never had an Averex jacket. And she ordered one for me. I really appreciate her for that. Shout out to LPA. Said keep up the fight. Stop by for coffee. Appreciate you. But yeah, and every year when my birthday comes, my wife makes a big deal. Um, her birthday is actually a couple of days after mine. Um, but she always makes a big deal. She, decorates, gets a cake and all of that. And I appreciate it because, I was one of those kids that didn't get birthday parties. I didn't get birth. I can probably I can remember having one birthday party as a kid, and that birthday party consisted of my grandmother baking me a cake and having a couple of my cousins over to the house and me blowing out the candles, and that was the equivalent of my birthday party. You know, not like kids today that have these big extravagant birthday parties and shit like that. And I'm not one of these people like, today is my birthday. I'm not one of these people that say, "Oh, my birthday month," and "Oh, my birthday week," and I'm gonna celebrate my birthday all month. No, I'm not doing all of that. I'm a grown up. I'm an adult. I'm not a child. Today is my birthday. It's not my birthday month. You know what I'm saying? None of that shit. But I do appreciate everybody for the birthday wishes, things of that nature. But going back to this particular topic, I've seen something on YouTube that's really disturbing to me. And I got to point it out so that none of the uh none of the Beanos here will fall for this crap, right? So, how many of you have seen these videos with these so-called financial gurus or people that claim to, you know, be rich and, all of these different things. And one of the things that they constantly say on a regular basis is owning a home is a liability. Owning a home is stupid. How many of y'all have seen these people? Shout out to Kadeen, said happy B-Day, big brother. Stay blessed up and keep cooking like only you can, fam. Appreciate you. How many of y'all have seen this? How many of you have seen these individuals that come onto YouTube and all they talk about is how, you know, owning a house is a liability, owning a house is a waste of money. If you buy a house, even if you pay off the mortgage, you still got to pay taxes on it. All of this BS, right? Press one if y'all seen those individuals. Now, the irony of this is at the same time that you have these countless individuals on the internet saying that buying a house is the worst thing that you can do, you also have people pointing out that the elites, and this may not be a direct quote, but you have these people that claim the elites keep saying you'll own nothing and be happy. Shout out to Fear Game Over. Said happy birthday, brother. Appreciate you. Now, is anybody? Am I the only one that are connecting the dots? Like, am I the only one that's noticing that at the same time that the elites are allegedly saying you'll own nothing and be happy, you also have individuals online telling people not to own anything? Did, am I the only one that's noticing this? Let's see. Claxton Johnson said they can't control you in apartments. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm telling you straight up, you're an idiot. You're a dumbass. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying you're a dumbass. Do you think you're gonna be young forever? You said I meant they can control. Oh, my bad. My apologies. Y'all gotta fix your typos, man. I thought you meant they can control. They can't control. You know what I thought you meant. I thought you meant it's easier to control you when you're not in an apartment. That's what I thought you meant. So my apologies, brother. Let me rephrase it. Anyone who thinks that renting as opposed to buying is a bad thing is crazy. Okay? It's crazy. And I'm gonna tell you why. To everybody watching this right now, what is one part of the American dream? What is one part of the American dream? What's one part of the American dream? Home ownership. Home ownership is, I would argue, a cornerstone of the American dream. But more specifically, home ownership in conjunction with owning land. Okay. Now, the reason why this whole concept is weird to me, and I feel like it's some new age lefty bullshit. The reason why it's weird to me, because this is what they try to do. They try to sell you on this hipster doofus lifestyle, right? They try to sell you on this lifestyle of, hey, let's be like everybody was on Friends. We could have this cool, trendy apartment where we have roommates, and the apartment building is right above a Starbucks, and it's right in the center of the city, and, everything's convenient and blah, 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 right? There's only one problem with that. The only problem with that is when you live in the city and you live in apartments, most of the time you don't even know the people that live in the apartment building that you live in. In other words, there's no sense of community. There's absolutely no sense of community, right? You don't know them, they don't know you. You're just a bunch of strangers, right? As opposed to when people owned homes and had more of a sense of a community where they would know each other. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to NDB. Said thanks for all you do, AM. Appreciate you. When you had more of a sense of community, things were different. You knew the police officers that patrolled your neighborhood. You knew the people that lived in your neighborhood. You knew the people that, even though some people will look at that like, oh, that's some old school country ass Andy Griffith type shit. Well, here's the reality. Just because something is old and just because something is done outside of the city, it doesn't mean that it's incorrect. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, right? Doesn't mean that it's wrong. Do you realize that every time I've went live to talk about certain topics, right? Every time that I've went live to discuss certain topics, someone will come into my chat room and this is what they'll say. They'll say, "Hey, angry man, why don't you talk about the state of Israel and Palestine?" Now, keep in mind, I'm not Boo Boo the Fool. I know that some people are not asking me that because they genuinely want to know my thoughts on Israel and Palestine. I know that some people are asking that just to see if I'm going to talk about it, just to see if I'm willing to talk about it, right? Because that's become the new thing. Let's see if this person is willing to talk about the hot button topic that most people don't want to talk about, right? And as far as that goes, at the end of the day, there's enough people talking about that. You don't really need my commentary on it. But to go into it as to why I don't talk about it, I want you to think about this. And the moment that I say this, you're going to realize how ridiculous it is to even come in here and ask me that, right? There are some people in this country that are worried about the state of people in Israel or Palestine. You're worried about what's going on with people on the other side of the globe, and you don't even give a shit about your next door neighbor. Shout out to Shakedown. He said, "Happy birthday, AM." Shout out to NDB. He said, didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday, AM. BINO, appreciate you. So I mean, I want you to think about that for a second. You're out protesting. You're out waving a flag for people on the other side of the globe. You're screaming about how there are people starving in other countries, and you'll walk by a bum on the street and won't even give him $1. And your justification is, well, he's just going to take that money and buy liquor with it. Like, we literally, I'm telling you right now, the left is one of the most hypocritical groups in this country. And their influence has created an environment of hypocrisy that I've never seen before in my life. These individuals will walk past homeless people on their way to a Starbucks to buy a $5 coffee and will sit in the Starbucks with another person that bought a $5 coffee that walked past homeless people and talk about the state of Palestine. Does anybody see anything wrong with this? So the two of you hipster doofuses walked down the street past homeless people digging in garbage cans for food. to go inside of a Starbucks, purchase a $5 coffee each, and sit there and discuss the state of a foreign country and the condition of its people. And before you say anything to me, I've given money to homeless people. I've given homeless people $100 bill at a time. Like, just walk up to a random homeless person and give them $100 bill. I've done that numerous times. But there's plenty of you that you operate that way. You're worried about what's going on in the rest of the world, and you don't even know your neighbor's name. You don't even know your neighbor's name. You don't know their name. You don't know what they find important. You don't know you don't know anything about them. Which is crazy. That's nasty work. But to get back to my point about homeownership, you'll own nothing and be happy. Do you realize, and I don't think people think about this, you're not going to be young forever. In fact, there's some of you right now that would be homeless if it were not for your great grandparents buying land or buying a home. See, the crazy thing is, while they're feeding you this dream of minimalism, you don't own anything because everything you own is a liability. Just rent and lease everything, and like, bro. While they're telling you that goofy shit, do you realize that a lot of these corporations is going around buying up houses like it's going out of style? Shout out to Brandon, said, I'm stationed in Hawaii, and this is a liberal state, and they don't give a F about the home peoples. Shout out to Adam B, said, happy birthday, Angryman. Appreciate you. So, for one, let's be clear. They're running around buying up all of these houses. Why? So that they can rent the houses out at a higher rate than what the mortgage would be. And see, another reason, in my opinion, that they're trying to discourage you from home ownership is so that you won't complain about rising mortgage prices and ultimately rising rent prices. Because guess what? If something was done to mitigate the cost of rising mortgages, that would encourage more people to buy a home as opposed to paying high ass rent. But if they convince you not to buy a home where your mortgage is probably going to be less than high ass rent, you don't have no other choice but to rent an apartment with high ass rent. Does that make sense? Shout out to A, say happy birthday to the GOAT of YouTube. Thanks to you, I'm almost a 6-figure earner right now. Appreciate you dearly, AM. Keep winning. Appreciate you, bro. So Stop making that goofy noise. I done told you, Fred. You better carry your ass on. So squirrels have this weird noise they make, and I don't know why they make it. I need to look it up on Chat GPT. But anyway, it's distracting as hell. But anyway, going back to what I was saying. Home ownership is one key element to the American dream, right? And I'm telling y'all right now, to everybody that watches me, don't fall for this bullshit, man. Whatever you need to do in order to get your shit right, in order to be a homeowner, I don't care if it's a tiny home, you gotta own some shit, bro. You gotta own some shit. I'm telling you right now, because the moment that most of the public doesn't own anything, you're gonna be in a world of shit. Shout out to Jada Transport. He said, "Happy Born Day, AM." The moment that the general public doesn't own anything, you're gonna be in a world of shit. And I tell you something else too. When you set out to own some shit, make sure that you set up a damn trust so that you own it, but you don't own it personally, which makes it more difficult for them to take your shit. I'm gonna say that again. When you set out to own some shit, set up a trust. Make sure you own your shit, but not personally, so it's more difficult for them to take your shit. I'm not joking. Y'all think, look, I'm sending y'all this message because I see all of these people on the internet all the time, and the advice they be giving, the shit they be telling people to do is the weirdest shit in the world, bro. It's the weirdest shit in the world. Like, if you're the type of person who's like, yo, I don't want to buy anything. I would rather rent, because if I rent, then I don't have to do landscaping. If there needs to be repairs, I don't have to do that, and blah blah blah. Bro, do you plan on working for the rest of your life? Because you're not gonna be young forever. You're not gonna be young forever. You're not gonna be young forever. It says scammers stealing houses through titles. Yeah, and that's why you have to protect yourself from bullshit like that. But you got that. You got that bullshit, which I just found to be weird as hell, telling people not to own a home. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at apartments can do a whole bunch of shit. Apartments can decide not to renew your lease. They can just be like, "Oh, we're not going to renew your lease." Or they can sell to another corporation, and that corporation come in and they change the terms of the lease when you renew it, or they raise the price. If you own a home and you own land, you got so many freaking options. You got so many different things you can do. You get in a tight spot, you could take out an equity line of credit. You feel me? You get older and you retire, and let's say you get in a tight spot. At the end of the day, you still have the option of bankruptcy, so that they can't take your shit from you. Like the fact that you got these people coming online telling people not to buy houses, yo fam, I'm telling you right now, it's one of the most irresponsible things I've ever seen in my life, bro. And it just shows and proves that nowadays people fall for this shit because they have completely forgotten what the American dream is. All of these damn lefties and all of their bullshit has everybody's priorities backwards. Everybody's priorities backwards, bruh. They running around here worried about shit that is not going to serve them in the next 10 to 20 years. So the question is, again, who turned the American dream into a nightmare? It's the left. And you know something I notice about the left? I don't see the left promoting home ownership and shit. I see the left living in these little mini apartments, eating at, drinking coffee at Starbucks and eating at these freaking goofy ass restaurants. Because here's the other thing nobody tells you. This is the one thing nobody really tells you. I want you to think about this. You got the entire society following the footsteps of the left, right? Answer this question for me. How often do you come across a really old lefty? I'll wait. How often do you come across a elderly person that has leftist ideology? How often do you come across that in the real world? How often do you come across it? You don't. You know why you don't? Because leftist ideology does not endure the test of time. It's just like Marxism. It's just like socialism. It's just like communism. It does not stand the test of time. It doesn't stand the test of time. Because here's the reality. When you have leftist ideology, eventually you have to grow the fuck up. And as soon as you mature and grow up, you're going to be way more conservative than liberal. And I know you think, well, that's not true. Look at all of the, don't bring up no damn celebrities, because those celebrities are being liberal because it pays. They're not being liberal because it works. They're being liberal because it pays. I guarantee you, if you go look at their personal lifestyle, I guarantee you when it comes to the areas of their life that matter, I guarantee you they're extremely conservative. When it comes to their finances, when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to their stock portfolio, I guarantee you that they're way more freaking conservative. They're just selling you that bullshit. They're just selling you that bullshit. Partially because it puts you at a disadvantage and it puts them at an advantage. Now, if you wanna come at me and say, well, you don't know that to be true, angry man. Oh, really? I don't know that to be true? Then answer this question for me. Who rents bunkers? I'll wait. What company rents bunkers? What company rents farmland? Shout out to Brandon said, are they saying this because a house is a depreciating asset? A depreciating asset. A depreciating asset. Let me hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Let me ask this question. When in the fuck has a house been a depreciating asset? Based on what? When has a house been a depreciating asset? I need an answer to that. Look. Let me tell you something. Even if you bought a house that was in the middle of the hood, like right now, there was a guy, there was an African guy that used to come on Fight Club. There's an area near downtown Raleigh. There's an area near downtown Raleigh that had a bunch of old houses. And these old houses were inexpensive because it was in the middle of the hood, right? And so this African brother, he bought one of those houses or a couple of those houses or something. A lot of people did, right? You know how much them houses are worth now? You ever heard of a term called urban renewal? You ever heard of gentrification? So even if you go somewhere and you buy a house that's in the hood, that's run down or whatever, you buy that house and remodel that house, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. They may decide to put a freaking mall near that damn house. They may decide to build a shopping center near that damn house. Hell, they may decide to build a shopping center on the land that the house is on and show up and offer you a shit ton of money to sell the damn house. Anybody that says a house is a depreciating value is a depreciating asset is crazy. And the reason why I say that is because even if you can't sell it, even if you can't get more value from it than what you paid for it, you can still live in it. You can still live in it or rent it out. How in the hell would a house be a depreciating? Bro, there was a bunch of houses up in Detroit. Ask Anton Daniels about it. There was a bunch of, like, Detroit was a city that was going down. Anybody that went through, Anton went through and bought houses. I got a cousin that went and bought houses. Anybody that bought them houses, them rundown houses in Detroit, Now that they're trying to build Detroit back up, bro, let me tell you something. The smartest thing you can do is when you see a city where there's a certain area where it's run down or whatever, and you can buy them houses inexpensive, bruh, the smartest thing you can do is buy them shits and sit on them. That's the smartest thing you can freaking do, bruh. That's like buying a stock in a dip. And I'm not giving y'all financial advice, but y'all know what I'm saying. Chuck said, true, but the taxes. The only people that's worried about paying taxes on property that you own is broke people. Because guess what? If you can't afford the taxes on the shit, you should have never bought it in the first place. This is like one day I was on a panel. Well, one day I was doing a show, right? And I said something about, yo, I think one day I'm gonna buy me a Range Rover. And somebody in the chat room was like, yo, the maintenance on a Range Rover is high. And you know what I said? I said, if you can't afford the maintenance on a Range Rover, you can't afford the Range Rover. If you can't afford the maintenance on a specific type of car, that means you couldn't afford the damn car. Shout out to Brandon said, don't you know what me too hard, angry, LOL. I'm asking, I'm a Democrat friend. Oh, yeah, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing. He said, and Range Rover depreciates. All cars depreciate. All cars depreciate. All cars depreciate. A car is a depreciating asset. All cars depreciate. Yeah, the moment you pull it off the lot. The moment you pull it off the lot. A car is strictly a vanity purchase. When you're talking about investments and shit. You feel what I'm saying? That is not that is a liability purchase the moment you buy it. The moment you buy it. Now, if you're in business and your car is part of your business, you can write off the depreciation on it, and you can even write off in some cases you can even write off the interest on the loan if you're buying it, if you're purchasing it through a loan or whatever, right? You can write off the gas mileage. There's a bunch of shit you can write off, right? But a car is a liability. You feel what I'm saying? A car is a liability regardless. You feel me? You said unless you're renting cars. Yeah, like unless you got, unless you got cars for business purposes, that's a whole other story. But at the same time, even if you, I don't know, it's still a liability. It's still a liability. And the reason why is because even if you're buying cars for the purpose of business, like let's say you buying cars because you want to rent them out or because you got a car service or something like that, it's still a liability because you're putting way more wear and tear on the cars. So you're going to have to do a whole lot of maintenance. You're going to have to do way more maintenance on those cars than you normally would. So it's still going to be a liability. Shout out to Sports Bodywork said, growing up, my parents always said, you have to purchase a house with land. We purchased a home and now they are building a downtown area walking distance from our home. Our property value has gone up. Yeah. Facts. Shout out to AR Smitty. He said that write-off game gets deep. Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. But going back to my thing about the left, right? And they keep, they're trying to do this with everything. Don't buy a car. You can just Uber everywhere you need to go. You feel me? Don't buy a car. You can Uber everywhere, and sooner or later they're going to get to the point where they're going to have a bunch of Tesla style cars that are self-driving. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to say there's no need for you to own a car. We need to lessen the digital footprint, not the carbon footprint. We need to lessen the carbon footprint. So they're going to have these electric cars that ride around, self-driving, right? Self-driving electric cars that ride around, and everybody's like, well, that would be more convenient. Then I wouldn't have to have a car payment or pay taxes on my car or blah blah blah. Instead of us fixing the shit that already works, we're trying to recreate the world into some sort of utopia. And there's certain things that people don't think about. When the left is screaming about, oh, we need to lessen our carbon footprint, we need these electric self-driving cars. Yeah, that's cool until you get into one of those self-driving cars, and because you got a damn warrant, the damn doors lock and it drives your ass to a police station. Nobody thinks about shit like that, right? Or these YNs, these YNs and scammers, they done took their shit to the next level. They mess around and hack one of the damn cars and have it drive you straight to their neighborhood and unlock the doors, and then they rob the shit out of you. You feel me? Like, there's so many things, right? Instead of us still being what we were before, which is a society that is about ownership. Do you realize that when America was first founded, everything was about ownership? Owning a house, owning land, everything was about ownership. Everything. And look, don't get fooled. Don't get fooled, because what they'll do is they'll try to fool you by using convenience. Okay? They'll try to fool you by using convenience. Well, you don't need a car. You can just use this car service. See, they're trying to get you acclimated to that with Uber and Lyft. Sooner or later, you're going to have Uber and Lyft, but you're not going to be able to make money doing Uber and Lyft because the cars are going to drive themselves. So that's going to push you out of an industry in order to make money. And then they're going to get to the point where you can't even own a car. You got to use their car service. And then they'll start raising the prices on the shit. It's the same thing they did with cable TV. They tricked us with cable TV. We fell for the okie doke, right? Because, okay, let's say for argument's sake, you get cable TV, right? I remember back in the day when cable TV was like $60, right? Let's say for argument's sake, cable TV was $100 every month. $100 every month, right? And if you paying $100 for cable TV back in the day, you was getting all the movie channels, right? You was getting Cinemax, Showtime, HBO. You was getting the movie, whatever that other channel is. You was getting all the channels, right? Okay. Fast forward to today. Why am I going to pay $100 for cable when I could just pay $10 for Netflix streaming? So you get Netflix, that's $10. But Netflix don't got HBO, and their catalog is limited. And plus, they change it every once in a while, right? So it's like, well, I like some of the movies on HBO Max, so I'll get HBO Max. Another $10. What about Cinemax? Cinemax got different movies, right? What about Prime? What about BT Plus? What about before you know it, you're paying more for the damn streaming services than you paid for cable, and you're getting less channels. And you're getting less channels. Telling you right now, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the okie doke. They're trying to reshape the world, but the way they're reshaping it, it's not going to be good. Shout out to Mama. Mama said the left don't want us to own anything. Also, they are making 15-minute cities. Florida already has one. Everything is walking distance for convenience. Shout out to Sports Bodywork. Said, yep, that's a communistic concept. People have gotten comfortable. Comfort is the slow killer of freedom. It is. It is. Because look, here's the other thing. The other thing they tricked us with the streaming services. Now we don't have VHS tapes and DVDs. So guess what? If there's a movie that you like to watch back in the day, they can go in and they could change that movie. They can cut scenes from that movie. Or they could just not put that movie on streaming services. And I'm gonna tell you something that I noticed. This is some shit that I noticed, and you correct me if I'm wrong. They rarely put any of the best movies on the streaming service. So if you're paying whatever the cost is now for Netflix, a lot of the best movies, they won't even put them on Netflix. They won't even put them on the streaming services. You'll have to go to Amazon Prime and buy that movie. And the crazy shit about it is you'll go there to find a movie that you haven't seen in a minute, and you'll pay for that movie to stream it and think to yourself, like, wait a minute, I bought this DVD back in the day. I'm going to tell you some real shit. And I know there's a guy out here. There's probably a few people out here that did this. Whoever ran to Walmart back in the day and was buying them DVDs out of that $5 bin is a fucking genius. I don't care what nobody say. Any dude, any person that went to Walmart and took advantage of them $5 DVDs in that damn bin, like, oh shit, they got so-and-so. Oh shit, they got so-and-so. That person was a genius. Shout out to Sports Bodywork. Said, that's why I tell people to own the movie on DVD and own the book from Audible. Yeah, facts. Facts. You know what I've been doing lately? Anytime I go to a Goodwill or a thrift store, I grab the DVDs, bro. I grab the DVDs, fam. I'm about to create a whole DVD collection, bro. I'm about to create. I used to have a sick ass DVD collection, and I gave it up for convenience. You feel me? But going back to what I was saying about the left, the left is trying to get us away from traditionalism. away from the way we used to operate, the way we used to function, right? And some of the things we used to do was good. Some of the things we used to do was good. You feel me? Because look, here's the reality. The reality is, if you're a guy that has a DVD collection, like a sick ass DVD collection, you don't even need the streaming services. You don't even need the streaming services. You don't even need them. See, I knew something was wrong when Walmart stopped selling DVD players. Like, I knew something was wrong when they stopped selling DVD players. I said, something ain't right about this shit. Something ain't right about this shit. And I tell you something else, too, that they did that was wrong, and we should have never let them do it. We should have never let them get rid of payphones. We should have never let them get rid of payphones, bro. Just imagine nowadays, if you driving somewhere and you mess around and your car break down and you got to get out and walk and you look at your phone and your phone dead. What the hell? We should have never let them get rid of payphones. There's a bunch of shit we should have never let them get rid of. Because we cannot base our lives on what the left does, because the left are a bunch of idiots. The left are a bunch of idiots. And here's the funny thing. Yesterday, well, not yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday, there was a guy that kept coming into the chat room, and every time I said something about the left, he was like, "Come on, angry man, I'm on the left and I'm willing to listen to you." Bro, stop trying to stop me from talking shit about the left. If it don't apply to you, cool. But stop trying to stop me from talking shit about the left, because I'm never going to stop talking shit about the left. The left, people like Destiny, all of these individuals that's running around screaming fascism, that's calling everybody Nazis, they're idiots. You want to know how I know they're idiots? Press 1 if you want to know how I know they're idiots. Because anytime they want to label someone on the right the worst thing they can label them, they always go to Germany. They always reference Nazis. Now, some of y'all gonna say, well, how does that make them an idiot? Easy. Because it tells you that they don't think for themselves. It tells you they don't think for themselves. Why am I saying this? They don't think for themselves because there have been a lot of monsters in this world. There have been a lot of movements in this world that did some horrific shit. But the only thing our society teaches these idiots about is Nazi Germany. That's how I know they're idiots. That's how I know they don't truly study history, because they always reference that one group. If you want to the left, let me say this to you. If you want to label the right, the worst thing you could think of Why you never bring up Stalin? I'll tell you why. Because you're idiots. Because you're a bunch of programmed, battery in the back, wind up toy soldiers. You only are angry with people because you've been programmed to be angry with people. Exactly. They never bring up Mussolini. They never bring up Mao. They never bring up Stalin. They never bring up any of those individuals. They always go to that one group every time. It never fails. Shout out to Sports Bodywork said, "Leave the World Behind" movie by Obama. If you haven't seen it, it should be an eye opener. Shout out to Catfish Tales for the membership. That's how you know they're not smart. That is how you know they're not smart. Like, name one of them. Name any popular leftist that gets on panels and debates with people that made reference to anything other than Germany. Name one. And by the way, speaking of Germany, I got a message for Europe. Europe. Anybody that's in Europe, cut it out. Because as Americans, we didn't come rescue y'all's ass in World War II just for you to act like the individuals we rescued you from. I'm going to say that again. To all of Europe, you need to cut it out. Because we didn't come and save y'all in World War II for you to act like the people we saved you from. I even said, what are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Cut what out? All the censorship. Locking people up for tweets and all of that goofy shit. That's what I'm talking about. Encroaching upon people's freedoms. That's what I'm talking about. What was the purpose of World War II? What was the purpose of having World War II if all you're going to do is act like a totalitarian government? That's UK, not all of Europe. Bro, don't come in here telling me, first of all, Europe is this big. The UK is the size of one of our small cities. So don't come in here telling me about, oh, that's just the UK. That's not you. I don't want to hear that goofy shit. I don't want to hear that goofy shit. I can play hopscotch in Europe. France, Germany, Poland. UK. I can go to France and lay down, and my feet and my head will be in a different country. Come here talking to me about freaking Europe. Europe. I could fit Europe inside of Texas. I could fit Europe inside of Texas. I can fit Europe inside of Texas, bro. I'll go over there. I'll go over there to the Eiffel Tower and go all the way to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Just to piss y'all off. I'll go to the top of the Eiffel Tower and be like, America, fuck yeah. Because y'all been showing out over there lately. Y'all been showing out over there lately. Like real talk. And then on top of that, you like, that's the UK, that's not Europe. Well, you have to excuse me. Y'all gotta figure out what the hell y'all gonna label y'all shit. Because on one thing is okay, it's the UK, and then on another thing is it's England, no, it's Britain. Like which is it? Which is it? Like, I know North Carolina is North Carolina. New York is New York. California is California. Y'all, I don't even know what the hell to label y'all shit. I don't know the difference between the UK, England, and Britain. What's the difference? Please educate me. Educate a brother. Shout out to the Supreme View. He said, "Don't need recognition. Just happy birthday, brother. Appreciate you, fam." Like, let me know. Put me on the game. I need to understand. Is it just me? You see, Great Britain was England, Scotland and Wales. They included Northern Ireland to form the UK. Well, see, right there, already I got a problem with it. Already I got a problem with it. Already I got a problem in it. Because guess what? The Irish blood in me doesn't like the fact that Ireland got to be a part of England. How about that? How about that? How about that? The Irish blood in me doesn't like the fact that Ireland has to be a part of England. And neither does the Scottish blood in me. So the Scottish and the Scotch Irish blood in me does not like the fact that we got to be a part of England. Because I know the history. Shout out to Tracy for the membership. Appreciate you. Paul said, I thought it was Europe as a continent with several countries like Africa. That's what I thought too. That's why I included all of it. But the way he's talking like the UK is separate from Europe. I thought the United Kingdom was in Europe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the United Kingdom was in Europe. That's like if somebody said something crazy about America. They said, I don't like the way y'all's government operate in America. And I looked at the camera and said, that's DC. That ain't America. Ain't DC in America? Ain't the UK in Europe? Tootie Buzz said the UK is the EU. Europe. That's what I thought. But he told me, y'all saw, I read what he said. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm talking about Europe needs to cut it out. That's the UK. That ain't Europe. What? Shit, I might have been born today, but I ain't no damn idiot. I might have been born today, but I ain't no damn idiot. I'm still smart enough to know that the UK is part of Europe. The hell? I'm an American. I ain't got time to be trying to categorize y'all into different groups and shit. Shout out to Aaron. Aaron said, per U.S. Department of Transportation, 200,000 foreign drivers and operators are being shut down and kicked out. Now it's time to consider your trucking biz idea. Word, that's what's up. Appreciate you, bro. That's another thing. Look, everybody complaining about the American economy. If we get all these freeloaders up out of here, we might actually be able to fix the economy. Shout out to Willie, says support for the show. Shout out to Tony07. Appreciate you. If we get all these freeloaders out of the country, we might actually be able to turn shit around. Shout out to Michael. He said happy birthday. Appreciate you. Shout out to Dark Power. Shout out to Treese. Treese said happy birthday. Shout out to Ladarius. Said happy birthday to the Angryman. Appreciate you. Shout out to Corell for being a sponsor of the show. He said happy B-Day, bruh. Most folks just plain stupid. That's facts. Shout out to Steve. He said supporting the outside live. Shout out to IMP. He said salute to the light-skinned God AM. Appreciate you. Shout out to Quentin. He said top of the morning AM. Like I don't got time. I don't got time to be trying to classify all of y'all into different groups and all of that shit. I don't. I don't. You feel me? And I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because look, when the Europeans want to talk shit about us, do they talk about us based on the states we live in? I want y'all to think about this for a second. As Americans, we're all Americans, right? We know that the different states in America have different cultural things, have different ways of doing things, right? When Europeans talk about us, do they say, yeah, I can't stand those New Yorkers, or I can't stand those people in Georgia, or I can't? No, they say we can't stand Americans. When you have a critique for us, you critique us as a group. Now, considering the fact that Europe is significantly smaller than America, why can't I bunch you all together in one boat the same way you bunch our massive continent into one boat? Why can't I put you all in one boat when I literally can fit your Europe in freaking Texas. Like, does that make sense to everybody watching? Does that make sense? Talking about some, that's Europe, that's not the UK. Like, y'all really separate from Europe. Let me see if I can find a comparison map. Map comparing Europe size to USA. Bro, look at that shit right there. Look at that shit right there. Your countries are the size of our states. Shout out to Joel, said we at all costs cannot let go of free speech like Europe has, will be the end of us. Yep. Look at that. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. You can fit Ireland, United Kingdom, Denmark, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Austria, Germany, Romania, Greece, Turkey, Ukraine. Bro, look at all of that shit. Look at the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom right here. The United Kingdom ain't even as big as Virginia. The United Kingdom ain't even as big as Virginia. Going back to my original point about the left, right? Nobody else is going to say this, but I'm going to say it. Nobody else is going to say this, so I'm going to say it. The left has to be stopped. This is not even up for debate. They have to be stopped. Now, I know everybody wants to say, oh, but Angryman, what about free speech? Nobody said anything about taking away their free speech. See, here's the thing. As long as all they were doing was speaking, we could dislike the way the left operate and the way they move all day long, but there would be nothing that we could do about it as long as they were protesting peacefully, as long as they were just voicing their opinions. That's cool. But see, they didn't stop there. They have decided to be violent. They have decided to burn down cities. They've decided to burn flags. They've decided to attack ICE agents. They've decided to be anarchists in this country. They did a recent study and they found that a large portion of people on the left believe that political violence is necessary. That is absolutely ridiculous and totally unacceptable. See, the moment the left decided to start getting violent, well, guess what? Now you have the justification to shut that BS down. And if you don't shut it down, because they're not going to stop until you shut it down. They're not going to stop until you shut it down. And now, allegedly, they are claiming that allegedly 230 some FBI agents was in the crowd on January 6th. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know what to say about that. My bad, 275. See, and if that is true, now we got to ask some other questions. We got to ask, well, you know, and this would be a real naive question to ask, but you know I'm being sarcastic. Well, why didn't y'all stop what happened? If it was that detrimental and you had that many agents there, why didn't they stop it? Why didn't they stop it? Because look, I've been sitting back looking at all of these videos and looking at everything that's been coming out. And bruh, this is not something that we can just overlook. this is not something we can just overlook. Like, their ideology is literally upending the fabric. It's destroying the fabric of American society. And as a Gen Xer, I don't know why I'm surprised, because growing up, we were taught to love our country. This new group has been taught to hate this country. We were taught growing up to love the country we live in. This new group has been taught to hate this country. That is problematic in and of itself. That is problematic in and of itself, bro. And see, what you got to realize, if you go back, when you get a chance, if you really want to know what type of time the left is on right now, this is all you got to do. Go back, go on to YouTube and pull up any documentary about the French Revolution. Pull up any documentary about the French Revolution and look at the way the left behaved in the French Revolution. That's all you got to do. See, once you understand that part of history, you understand that they are not trying to radically change this country by accident. They're purposely trying to get rid of the traditional way this country is. So when it comes to being patriotic, you know, loving being American, having nuclear families, they're trying to get rid of all of that because they think they can create some sort of utopia. And I want you to think about this, right? To all my history buffs in here. I want you to think about this for a second. Answer this question for me. What aside from the American Revolution, name for me another revolution that actually was successful. Aside from the American Revolution, name for me another revolution that was successful. You said the Russian Revolution. Was it really? What was it? Was it really? The French Revolution? Was it really? you think the French Revolution was successful? The Haitian Revolution? You think the Haitian Revolution was successful? Have you been to Haiti? You think the French Revolution was successful? He said successful, maybe not prosperous. If it wasn't prosperous, then why would you consider it successful? If you didn't prosper after the revolution, why would you consider it successful? Okay, here's my thing, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot of people that's going to disagree with me on this. In my personal opinion, the only revolution that was successful was the American Revolution. And the reason why I say that is because as far as I know, that's the one reason I think the American Revolution was successful is because the American Revolution was about, it wasn't about overthrowing the current ruling. It wasn't like the founding fathers were here in America and there was already a ruling empire and they was trying to overthrow that empire in America. You see what I'm saying? Anthony said, don't do it. You're wrong, AM. Oh, really? Please explain to me how I'm wrong. Please explain to me how I'm wrong. Anthony, please explain to me how I'm wrong. Exactly, lazy boy. Because didn't Napoleon become the emperor right after they had the French Revolution? Right after the French Revolution, wasn't Napoleon installed as the emperor? Shout out to Modelo, said all them borders are confusing. They may have like that power. So then how was the revolution successful if you just swapped out one tyrant for another one? How was the revolution successful? Better yet, I'll put it to you like this. Let me rephrase the question. What revolution was successful in the sense that when they revolted, they not only won, but rose to be the greatest nation in the world? See, I feel like America set the standard with the American Revolution. And if your country that you formed after your revolution did not become successful, to me, that's a failed revolution. To me, that's a failed revolution. And the left during the French Revolution, the whole reason why they did what they did is because they was trying their best to create a utopia. They wanted to get rid of the traditional ways that the right believed in France. They wanted to upend all of that shit and get rid of all of that shit so that they could create a utopia. And guess what? They fucking failed. That's why I'm trying to figure out, what are y'all talking about? The French Revolution was successful. How was it successful? When did France have a utopia? When did France have a utopia? And look, let's be clear about France, because y'all not gonna do this with France. France has been the laughing stock of the world for a very long time. Did you see how fast Germany took France? Did you go back and look? Go back and look at the documentaries about World War II. Did you see how fast Germany took France? Did you see how fast France bent the knee? What are we talking about? The leftists in France that sparked the French Revolution because they wanted to change the way the right in France was operating. They wanted to create a utopia. Shout out to Valerie. Said, hello, AG. Appreciate you. They wanted to create a utopia. And they failed. They failed. Have you ever been to Haiti, AM? Hell no, I ain't never been to Haiti. And don't plan on going. I never been to hell either, but I heard about it. Why would I go to Haiti? Haitians don't even want to be in Haiti. Why would I go to Haiti? Why would I go to Haiti and Haitians don't even want to be in Haiti? Like why? That don't even make sense. And look, I don't have anything. I've said this before about countries. I don't have anything against the people in those countries per se. But if the people that run those countries run them into the damn ground, that's who I have a problem with. Like I don't necessarily have a problem with people who live in certain countries. I just have a problem with that country. You feel what I'm saying? Like when you look at Haitians and they leave Haiti, I don't blame them for leaving Haiti. Now, if they come to America, they need to come through the country the right way. They need to come legally, but I get why they leave that damn country. Fennell Joseph said, check the history, man. What history is that? What history do you want me to check? What history you want me to check? You want me to check the history about the Haitian Revolution, where they won the revolution against the French, and then the French turned around and said that, well, they were our slaves and we trained them, so we're the reason that they were able to win the revolution. So they owe us money. And then America backed up the French, which put Haiti in its financial situation. That history, is that the history you're asking me about? That's the history you want me to talk about? Yo, shout out to Short King's Fitness. He said, first time catching a live in a while. Just wanted to say thanks for all you do. Don't know if you remember, you did a live a few years back when I was going through it with my son's mother. Watching your videos has increased my mindset and my finances. That's what's up, bro. Glad you straight. Shout out to Anthony. Said, I've been to Haiti. It's everything Trump said. Shout out to Valerie. Said, I've seen you on Hamp Show a lot. I had to show support when I came across your channel. Appreciate you. Is that the history you want me to talk about? That's the history you want me to talk about. How Louverture, the first thing he did is he got rid of all of the traitors and you know, sellouts, and then won the war against France. And then France turned around and said they were our slaves and we trained them, so we're the reason that they won the war. So they owe us money. And the only reason France was even able to enforce the sanctions on Haiti is because America backed up France in that bullshit ass claim, which has resulted in, I don't know how long, but has resulted in Haiti being an impoverished country. Is that the history you're talking about? BINO Nation. Why do people come in here and act like I don't know what I'm talking about? I hope that's what he wasn't asking. He asking about check the history like I don't know the history. said, I noticed not one of them try to debate you, boss. No, of course not. Shout out to A.R. Smitty. He said, why would I want to go somewhere a leader named BBQ is beheading everyone? Oh my God. Lord have mercy. Big J Boogie said AM dropped game like the book was in front of him. I know exactly why Haiti is the way it is. I know why Haiti's the way it is. I know why Jamaica is the way it is. I know why Brazil is the way it is. Hey. Thank you.
Happy birthday. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to let me take the booze in the house?
Yeah.
I would be terrified there. I don't know what that, you know.
Well, I'll bring them in a second.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see what my daughter got me. Yeah, see this. Zoor. I hope I ain't already got this. Let's see. Ooh. That smells good. That's nice. That's real nice. Smells really good. She got me a light. Y'all give me 1 second. You caught the bus. Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, but going back to what I was saying. What was I saying right before she? Yo, shout out to Issa P. Said, that's what I'm talking about. My daughters adore me too. Happy B-Day, my G. Appreciate you, bro. Oh yeah, the Haitian Revolution. Yeah. I know the reason why Haiti's messed up. I know the reason why Brazil is messed up. I know the reason why Jamaica's messed up. All of them shits. All of them shits. There's a reason. There's a reason. But see, at the end of the day, you can't. This is going to sound crazy, but I got to say it, right? I'm not saying that people shouldn't rebel when they're being treated unfairly and things of that nature, but there's a smart way to do it. There's a smart way to do it, and then there's a wrong way to do it. And they tell you that in the 48 laws of power, right? Yo, shout out to my man Burnell. He said, "Happy birthday, broski." Hey, man, I appreciate you, Burnell. I appreciate the love, bro. Real talk. Um, the 48 laws of power tells you got to wait until you in the right position to do some shit. And see, that's the funny thing, right? When you look at Jamaica, when you look at Brazil, when you look at well, let's just start with Jamaica and Haiti, right? Let's look at Haiti. Here's my question. You got all of these black folk in America that are part of the black diaspora, right? And they say things like, "Oh, America needs to pay reparations," or "America or white people this, white people that." Here's my question. If the Haitians were slaves, right? If the Haitians were slaves, if the Haitians were brought from Africa, because that's the story everybody goes with. If the Haitians were brought from Africa to Haiti and they decided to spark a revolution, where's the support from Africa? Because that's the reason Haiti is in the shape it's in. That's the reason that any brown country in the islands or in South America is in the shape it's in. Where is the support from Africa? Or a better question is, why hasn't Africa as a continent, why haven't they got their shit together so they can be the support for those smaller countries that are considered of African descent? Said Jamaicans had Irish slaves. Yeah, I know. See, you can't be mad. Here's the thing, and this is what I realized about history, especially when it comes to the black-white thing, right? You can't be mad at the winners for having their shit together. You can only be mad at the losers for not having theirs together. That's what nobody wants to do. People want to be mad at the winners for winning instead of being mad at the losers for losing. Because guess what? If you stay mad at the winners, you're going to always be mad at the winners. If you continue to be mad at the winners and make excuses for the losers are never going to learn what they need to learn so that they can finally be the winners. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. So when France decided to put those sanctions on Haiti, France knew what to do. They said, "Okay, you know what? America's big and bad. We're going to use them. We need to go get them. That's our ally." That was smart. But I'm pretty sure, just like with black people, they said, "Oh, this is messed up. This is imperialism. This is colonialism. This is racism. This is all of this." Instead of looking to Africa and saying, "Bro, you got the biggest continent in the world full of people that look just like us. Why the hell you ain't helping us?" I tell you why they ain't helping you. Because they can't get their shit together. One, they can't even get their shit together to be united. That's one. And number two, even if they was, they wouldn't help you because they the ones that sold you into slavery in the first damn place. Shout out to Eclipse, said happy birthday, AM. Appreciate you. They sold you into slavery in the first place. So I mean, what can you do? Shout out to Crocodile Tears said drones to rooftops for security measures for rally. Word. Like when you start really looking at the history, shout out to E-Roll said happy birthday. Appreciate you, fam. Yo, shout out to all the sponsors, man. And shout out to my man Burnell for being a super sponsor. Appreciate y'all for the birthday wishes. When you start really looking at history, you start understanding like, yo, some of this shit is the fault of some of this shit is the fault of the individuals. And look, as much as folks want to play the victim or whatever, it doesn't help. See, here's the problem that I see, right? Especially with black and brown countries, right? The problem that I see with black and brown countries is that even if you have a country like Haiti where they had a revolution and yeah, they got sanctions put on them, yeah, they got a bunch of goofy shit coming, but guess what? That don't have nothing to do with how Haitians treat each other. You feel me? That ain't got nothing to do with how Haitians treat each other. Shout out to Eclipse says shields up, appreciate you. That ain't got nothing to do with how Haitians treat each other. And what I noticed with African countries and a lot of black and brown countries, whenever somebody that's black or brown is in charge, they abuse the people that look just like them. Shout out to Joel says so much of what's taught in school is a lie. Yep. Truth Over Emotion said, AMG, you opening up a whole can of worms now they didn't want to address. And you know what? Here's the thing. Until they address that, then they're never going to be able to fix that problem. Until they address that, they're going to always be in the same shape. They're going to always be in the same shape, no matter what, until they address that. Until they address, look, check this out. Check this out. As long as the people on Banana Island don't give a shit about the people in the slums of Mukako, this shit that is a prime example right there. Where are my Africans at? Are there any Africans in the chat room? You explain to me why the people in Banana Island, I think it's called Banana Island, they in their luxurious homes behind big walls. They won't let anybody come in there and film and none of that shit. Meanwhile, you got kids swimming around in sewage in the slums of Mukako. That ain't right. That ain't right. And the craziest thing about it is the Africans that are in the slums of Mukako, they are actually better morally, community-wise, character-wise. They're better people than the ones that's behind the walls in Banana Island. Bro, I saw that. I saw the conditions of those people. That shit broke my heart, bro. That shit broke my heart, bro. But what can you do when you have government officials and leaders that are corrupt to the damn core? That shit is sad. That shit is sad. They don't got nothing. Their bathrooms is a hole in the, they got this whole village sitting on top of the water. And if you took an aerial view, you could literally see the polluted water around it that's separate from the rest of the water. You got to see what's happening in Cuba right now. I could only imagine. I could only imagine. I could only imagine. And like I said before, look, y'all, this is what y'all need to understand about the Angry Man. When I talk shit about Haiti, when I talk shit about Africa, any African nation, whether it be uh whether it be the Congo, whether it be Sudan, whether it be Nigeria, when I talk shit about these places, I'm not talking about the people. I'm not talking about the people that's there struggling, going through bullshit. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the Haitian people. I'm not talking about the Jamaican people. I'm talking about whoever runs those countries or those islands that got them places screwed up like that. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about. Because they need to be held accountable. Because if they say, well, the reason why is because of countries like America and countries like this country and that country, well, look, here's the thing I learned about history. There's no such thing as evil empires. The only thing that exists is politics. And the politics that exist are not the politics of the right, not the politics of the left, not the politics of Republican or Democrat, not the politics of conservatives or liberals or libertarians. It's the politics of power. So you trust and believe if America has any input into what's going on in Haiti through France, it's because there's arrangements being made. It's because one hand is washing the other. It's because there's backroom deals being made. And the only way a backroom deal can be made is it got to be reciprocal. It got to be on both sides. So when you look at these corrupt dudes in Africa that's running shit, you feel me? Don't fall for the, oh, well, they're only corrupt because of the conditions that they're, no. Don't fall for that shit. Don't fall for that shit. That's the result of another empire playing one off of the other, saying, hey, if you operate like this, we'll keep you in power. So this shit is reciprocal. It's not like somebody's just forcing some shit on you. There's a lot of greed. Catfish Tail said, Angry Man can't say it, but I can. It's the people. No, I can say it too. It is the people. It is the people. And guess what? Guess what? Here's the thing. Just to show y'all, I'm not trying to say that what you consider FBA, Black Americans. Just so you know, I'm not trying to say that Black Americans are better than Haitians, Jamaicans, Nigerians, or Sudanese, or anybody else in any other country that's a brown country, right? If Black people had a position of power in this country, we do the same shit. We do the same shit. And think about it. When you look at cities that have when you look at cities that you consider Black cities, because they have a Black mayor, they got Black police officers, they got a Black city hall. What do you notice? The same shit you see in those African countries. You see the same corruption. You see the same bullshit. This is a problem of character. This is a problem of character. This is a problem of whenever you have Black faces in high places, they act parasitic towards the people that they govern. That's the truth. That's the damn truth. The moment that you get a Black mayor in a city that's considered a Black city, they always into some shit they ain't got no business. It couldn't be me though. It couldn't be me. If I was in charge, yo, here's the thing. If I was in charge, if I was in charge of a Black city, if I was in charge of a Black city, Negroes would hate me. Well, let me put it this way. Niggas would hate me. Black people would love me. Because I wouldn't make no excuses for the riffraff. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. They would be calling me Black Giuliani. Because I would shut all of that shit down. Like if I was mayor of Chicago, oh, them niggas would be through. They would be done. I'd shut all of that shit down. And guess what? I'd ride around in a bulletproof car with a vest on and would move militant as hell. But for my tenure as mayor, I guarantee you I'd shut all of that shit down. I'd shut it down. You hear me? I'd shut it down. And no, I would shut it down because if I had trouble with resources, you know what I would do? I would reach out to President Donald Jamarius Trump, goddamn it. And I guarantee you he would give me every resource that I need to put a stop to that goofy shit going on. And guess what? By the time I get finished, decent, hard-working Black people would be able to live in that city without worried about getting hit by a stray bullet. Straight up and down. I'll be like Joe Clark, Mayor Joe Clark. You feel me? I'll be running around that mud talking about they used to call me Crazy Joe. Now you can call me Batman. I shut all of that goofy shit down, bro. Brandon Johnson absolutely is an idiot. because there's too many folks running around making excuses. They constantly making excuses for all of this foolishness. Constantly. I've never seen nothing like it in my life. When did we as black people start making excuses for the black folks that are degenerates? When did we do that? There used to be a time where black folks would, man. Shout out to Found Link said, what happens in black cities is no different from what you know who in 1930s Germany did. He used race baiting and fear mongering to gain power. Absolutely. 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 And I'll tell you something else too. I was watching a show earlier today with a white content creator. And he was talking about some stuff addressing black topics and certain things about black people. And I ain't gonna tell you no lie. The pro-black inside me was feeling some type of way. Like that old habit of, oh my God, that's racist. But then I thought about it. I said, what he's saying ain't racist. It's just the damn truth. It's just the damn truth. He was talking about this new movie that's coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's in a relationship with Tiana Taylor, and they got a daughter. And he said he hate the preview of the movie because it makes Leonardo DiCaprio look like he's incompetent and don't know what he's doing. But on the flip side, his black girlfriend is like this champion, and she just got all her shit together, and he's like, yo, they keep doing this over and over. And I'm sitting there like, you know what? He's not lying. You look at all of these movies, they try to portray the American B-dub in a light that she doesn't exist in. She doesn't exist in that light. I'm sorry, she doesn't. She just doesn't. And I tell you something else too that a lot of y'all ain't noticing. Every time they make movies now where there's a black child in the movie, it's always a girl. You ain't noticed that? Shout out to Lotus Flower, said, happy birthday, AM. Wishing you good health, wealth, happiness, love, peace, joy, success, and prosperity. All the best to you. Have a blessed day. I appreciate you, sis. Haven't y'all noticed that? They have literally eliminated the black boy experience. You look at the black community, excuse me, not the black community. You look at black cinema right now, black boys are non-existent. Name a movie right now that has a black boy in it. Every time they have a show now, whether it's a black father and a black mother or an interracial couple, the child is always a girl. It's always a girl. Every movie recently that I saw that was a black movie, they don't have no sons. And nobody's saying anything about it. AR Smitty said, happy B-Day, AM. I can imagine you right now talking to them YNs. Look at me, boy. You smoke crack, don't you? Yeah, John Q was forever ago. You said The Equalizer. That's how long ago was that? When did that movie come out? When did that movie come out? And keep in mind, The Equalizer, that didn't do any benefit to for us. Because in The Equalizer, what was he doing? What was the boy doing in that movie? He was trying to link up with gangbang. It still portrayed us in a negative light. Name the movie for me where there's a black boy in the movie that is just a school kid that goes to school and gets good grades, that's not a gangbanger or not being enticed to be in a gang or being enticed to be a drug dealer. Name for me the black movie or black TV show right now that portrays black boys as just being regular kids. Said the only one I could think of was the new Jamie Foxx movie, but what they do is add a daughter as well. What new Jamie Foxx movie? What new Jamie Foxx movie? Finding Forrester? I haven't seen that joint. I haven't seen that joint. Shout out to Mama said they use Black Boy to be, yeah, absolutely. They absolutely do. The CIA one where he's married to Cameron Diaz. Oh, I know what you're talking about. You talking about the one where he had a, you talking about the one where they were spies? You talking about the one where they were spies and they faked their deaths and started a family? That's the one you talking about? Yeah, but guess what? And I hate to have to be the one to do this. Does the black community consider those kids black? Does the black community consider those kids black? No, absolutely not. But that's the that would be the closest one. That would be the closest one. Shout out to Everett. Appreciate you, Everett. He said, "Great to see you still spitting these facts. Happy birthday. Appreciate you." That's the closest one. That is the closest one. You look at power. You look at the power universe. And shout out to 50, but every black boy in that show is a drug dealer or a straight up villain. And the type of villains that want to take out their fathers. Shout out to Meat Puppet. Said, "Happy birthday, AM. Always tell the truth, even when it doesn't benefit you. The way I see it is that they have spent decades destroying family, and that is a big problem. Just a truck driver checking in. Appreciate you, bro. Hey, man, shout out to all the truck drivers out there. Johnny Boy said, hello and happy birthday from Dublin, Ireland. That's what's up, man. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all y'all out there in Ireland, in Dublin. Y'all get busy out there. Yo, they get busy out there in Dublin. You get to talking crazy out there in Dublin, somebody gonna knuckle up real quick on you. That's why when I was a kid, I used to have to fight all the time because I was light skinned. The darker skinned black kids, they thought they was gonna bully me, but they didn't realize I had that Scottish Irish blood in me. So nigga, I'ma fight. I'ma fight. Trust and believe. But yeah, like when you look at the landscape, it's certain things that I noticed as being attacked. There's certain things I noticed as being attacked, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna break down each one that's being attacked, because it's not just black people. It's not just black people in the black structure that's being attacked. It's basically American structure that's being attacked. I'm gonna tell you everything that's being attacked. Um, Black boys. They don't want to display black boys as anything other than drug dealers and criminals. Okay. White men. They are trying to portray white men as incompetent, weak, and losing power. Okay. Feminine women. Women that are more feminine and traditional, like the women that want to be mothers and homemakers and shit like that, they're attacking them. Black fathers. They're attacking black fathers. They want to make it seem like black fathers are not present or not worthy of being fathers. These are all the things they're attacking. And what they're promoting is anybody with an alternative lifestyle, anybody that's part of the LBGTQ, they're promoting that. They're promoting black women as if they don't need black men, right? Um, and they're promoting the idea of feminist white women that are stronger than white men, and how they're basically taking their power back from white men. That's what they're doing right now. That's what they're doing right now in everything. That's the whole reason why they made Thor. That's the whole reason why they had Thor get emasculated by Hela when she broke Thor's hammer. That's the reason why they had Thor fail at defeating Thanos and then got fat and was walking around like he was a failure. You feel me? That's the reason why they had Jane Foster basically steal Thor's thunder, literally and figuratively. Because guess what? They no longer want the straight white male to be the hero. They don't want you to be the hero. Shit, they rarely ever wanted the straight black man to be the hero. They always want the straight black man to be the anti-hero. They always want him to be a drug dealer or somebody that is morally compromised and shit. And nowadays we don't get to see black boys go through the hero's journey to be a legitimate hero. The closest thing you get is Miles Morales, but Miles Morales is half Latino, half black, right? Um, they basically robbed Finn. They robbed Finn. Finn should have been the main character in that Star Wars movie. He was obviously force sensitive. He should have been the main character, and he should have went through the hero's journey just like Luke Skywalker. But they even, when you even look at the trailer, they made it seem like he was going to be the main character. That was the bait and switch. You know, next year they got a live action Masters of the Universe movie coming out, right? And I got a feeling it's going to be horrible. I got a feeling it's going to be horrible. I got a real strong feeling it's going to be terrible. Because I guarantee you, we're not going to get the same He-Man that we got in Dolph Lundgren. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get that. Now, they gave us Creed, but the only problem with Creed, and most people don't notice this, is even though the Creed movies were good movies, I'll give Ryan Coogler credit for that. They were good movies, but the only problem is it's still a stain on Apollo. Because instead of having Adonis be his legitimate son, he had to be the son of a woman that he cheated with. So, and I'm pretty sure Carl Weathers had an issue with that. Because here you have this prize fighter. When you go back and you look at the Rocky movies, there was nothing to indicate that he was on that type of time. There was absolutely nothing to indicate he was on that type of time. And they did the same shit with Black Panther. You know, at the end of the movie, the post-credit scenes, you know, he done had a baby with old girl out of wedlock and shit. Like, bro, and most people think that shit don't mean something. It means something. It means something, bro. That shit means something. But I'm here to tell you guys, like, I'm here to tell. Shout out to Tahiri, said happy birthday, appreciate you. Shout out to Omar. Omar said happy birthday, more life, you the man, trust gang, appreciate you, bro. I'm here to tell you, it's not just it's American culture that is under attack. It's American culture that's under attack. Yeah, Rocky never cheated. You see what I mean? It's American culture that's under attack. But here's the thing. They may not have put Rocky in that situation to where he had illegitimate children like Apollo. And most people that, you know, see racism and everything, they'll be like, that's messed up. They made Apollo have an illegitimate child, but Rocky didn't have an illegitimate child. No, Rocky didn't have an illegitimate child. But let me show you how they attacked Rocky. They put conflict between Rocky and his son. Because by the time you get to the Creed movie, Rocky and his son ain't even talking to each other. Adonis had to convince Rocky to go talk to his son. So that's how they attack. That's how they attack the white guys. They make them look like they're incompetent as fathers. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, all this is leftist agenda crap. Because they know in order to dismantle America, you got to start with the family. You got to start with the family. And the reason why, when you look at us Gen Xers, the reason why we're more well-rounded as Americans is because we grew up in families. We grew up knowing that family was important. Damn near every show and movie we watched was about family. TGI Friday was a lineup of family shows. And when we was growing up, you would have a family, even if the mama wasn't there. The father still did a good job as a father. Nowadays, you don't even have family shows. You don't even have family shows nowadays. All you got is reality TV shows with a bunch of damn dysfunction, bunch of bullshit. Igbo lady said, "Great, let's listen to this sellout." Hold on, don't hide her. Don't hide her. Igbo lady, explain to me how I'm a sellout. Explain to me how I'm a sellout, Igbo lady. So y'all can hurl insults, but you can never explain the insults. Explain to me how I'm a sellout. I'm all ears. Y'all know she ain't gonna answer, right? Look, let me tell you something, Igbo lady. And I got to take a quote from the great Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. I don't care if you boo me, because I've seen what you cheer for. In this day and age, black folks is so backwards that being called a sellout can be considered a compliment. Y'all are so backwards that you calling me a sellout is a compliment, because what you think is real is some bullshit. I bet you she drives a Nissan Altima. Juliet says, AM, if you're not listening carefully, you come as a sellout, but trust me, you're speaking facts. Well, the thing about black folk is anybody that says anything that they don't agree with, especially if that person is trying to hold black people accountable, that's what they consider a sellout. But you know what? I've never seen them call anybody a sellout that wasn't well rounded, law abiding citizen, successful, intelligent. I've never seen these Negroes call anybody a sellout that was stupid, that was broke, that was a criminal, that was engaged in a bunch of foolishness. I've never seen that. I've never seen it. Every person they consider a sellout is always somebody successful. It's always somebody that's intelligent. It's always somebody that got something going on in their life. It's always somebody that holds themselves accountable and holds others accountable. But it's all good. She can call me a sellout, and the rest of them Negroes can call me a sellout, because at the end of the day, regardless of what you say, you know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. And with that being said, to all you black folk that think I'm a sellout and think that I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm about to go so that I can celebrate my birthday with my family that loves me and enjoy the gifts and birthday cake that I'm about to receive. Because I am what you call a patriarch. I am what you call a black father, that when my birthday comes around, I don't get ignored. I actually get celebrated. Something a lot of you might not know nothing about, because you don't value family. You don't value the traditional ways. You don't value any of that. Shout out to Lit Studio, said, happy birthday, AM. My dad's was yesterday. He passed a few years back. Keep grinding. Would love to hear your review of the series C with Jason Momoa. Yeah, I doubt I'll ever watch that series. But salute to everybody, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning into the show and hanging out with me on my birthday. Normally, most people would take the day off for their birthday, but y'all know how I do. Shout out to Martin. He said, God bless you, AM. Happy birthday. Beard looks great. Appreciate you. Most people would take their birthday off, but y'all know how I do. I'm going to go live regardless. So you know what it is. Shout out to everybody. Salute to the whole BINO Nation. I appreciate all the birthday wishes. I appreciate everybody that sponsored the show. I might be back at you guys later on this evening. So just in case, be on the lookout for me. Make sure you guys go check out my book, The Angryman Standard, which is available on Amazon. All you have to do is type The Angryman Standard in the search bar, and it will come up. If you want to check out the merchandise, you can click the link on the screen, or you can go to shopbinonation.com. Again, that's shopbinonation.com. But other than that, I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.